Yo, what's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Triple B's is back in the haunted basement studio, and welcome. And in this video, we're going to talk about the movie X, and it's the 2022 A23 production horror film, and it stars Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, Kid Cudi, and Martin Henderson. In 1979, an inspiring pornographic actress, Maxine Minks, journeys on a road trip through the back hills of Texas with her boyfriend, Wayne, along with fellow actress Bobby Lynn and Jackson Hole, along with cameraman RJ and his girlfriend, Lorena. So they're on their way to go make an adult film because the film industry at this time is booming. So they make it to Howard and Pearl's house, their farm. The elderly couple has agreed to rent out their guest house to the group, unknowing to them that they are going to film a film called The Farmer's Daughter. Howard's really acting agitated with the group, like he doesn't even want him there. He's holding a shotgun as he leads them down to the guest house. And then once they get in the guest house, Wayne assures them that everything is going to be okay. And they go ahead and they film two of their scenes for the movie. And in one scene in the barn, Pearl is outside. She's the elderly lady and she sees through the window them filming them having sex. Maxine is now invited into the couple's home by Pearl, where they sit down and they have a glass of lemonade and a conversation. Where Pearl now tells Maxine that she's very envious of her age and her beauty, how she wishes she could be young again. And then she makes sexual advances towards Maxine. Right then and there, Howard pulls back up to the house and Maxine sneaks out the back door to the farmhouse. Later, she watches Maxine have sex with Jackson in the farmhouse and she gets aroused. She goes to her husband, Howard, and pleads to him to have sex with her, but he refuses because his heart is too weak. Night falls, and as the crew relaxes in the guest house, Lorena, who has a reputation as being a prude, decides that she wants to be in their film. RJ, the boyfriend of Lorena, is opposed to this, but she has it her way, and he has to film her having sex with Jackson. After he's done filming the scene, he jumps in the van and he's going to leave the group. And as he leaves the group, he is approached by Pearl. She attempts to seduce him, but he refuses her, so she gets mad and stabs him in the neck. Meanwhile, Lorena and Wayne discover that RJ is missing and they go outside the guest house to look for him. Wayne now goes into the barn where he's walking barefoot and he steps on a nail and it's pretty damn gruesome. And as he's trying to get the nail out of his foot, Pearl stabs him in the eyes with a pitchfork. And then Lorena walks up to the couple's house where Howard invites her in, saying that he cannot find his wife. And so Lorena goes into the house and Howard's like, go downstairs and get a flashlight for me, please. And she goes downstairs to get the flashlight. And when she comes back upstairs, the door is locked and she can't get out. And she looks back downstairs in the basement and she sees a sex slave hanging from the wall. Howard now has Lorraine locked up in his basement, so he goes to the guest house where he sees Jackson and he asks Jackson if he can help him find his wife. Jackson now finds a submerged car in the pond, and it is the dead guy that's in the basement where Lorraine is at. And when he sees this, he turns around and Howard's there with a shotgun and he shoots and kills Jackson. Meanwhile, Pearl enters the guest house and goes into Maxine's room, and she lays next to her naked, and she's kind of stroking her hair. Maxine thinks it's her boyfriend, and she turns around and sees that it's Pearl there naked. Pearl now flees the house, and as she leaves, Bobby Lynn witnesses this, and she approaches Pearl because she doesn't have any clothes on, and she gives her her jacket. And Pearl lures her to the pond where that crocodile is, and she pushes her in where she dies. Meanwhile, back at the regular house, Lorena is trying to break out of the basement. She's up at the door because she found a hatchet, and she's fucking breaking in the door. And as she's about ready to reach her hand through the door to unlock it, Howard comes in and breaks her hand. Maxine now sees Pearl and Howard head back into the guest house where she hides underneath the bed. They go into the same room where they discuss their murders and they have sex. Maxine is now able to manage to flee from the guest house, and as she runs towards the van, she realizes that RJ's body's there, all mutilated. She gets into the van and she grabs the gun out of the glove box, and then she hears something coming from the house, and it's Lorena. And she goes and helps Lorena out of the basement where she's all this distraught and going super crazy. She runs out of the house where Howard's there with the gun and shoots Lorena and kills her. As Howard and Pearl attempt to move the body to make it look like that the group were intruders and they had to defend themselves, the dying Lorena, she wakes up and startles Howard, and then he has a heart attack. Maxine now receives the keys from Howard and Pearl's truck, and as she tries to go outside, she sees Pearl and she goes and tries to shoot her, but the gun is not loaded. And Pearl has the shotgun and she goes to shoot Maxine, but misses. And with the power of the shotgun, puts Pearl on her back and she breaks her hip. As Pearl lies there hurting, she begs Maxine for help, but she refuses. Maxine jumps into the couple's truck and she drives right over Pearl's head 2 or 3 times. In credit scene. Turns out that Maxine is the daughter of the preacher that's been on TV this whole time. All right, man. Fucking what a ride, dude. Man, my final thoughts on this fucking movie was, it was, I mean, it was pretty good. It wasn't like what a lot of people fucking think it was, like the greatest thing of all time, but it was cool. Very good premise, like what they did with it. I didn't really care too much about the older couple being the slashers, the killers, but I get it. And like I like the universe that they're building on because there's going to be 2 more movies after this one, and Mia Goth played both Pearl and Maxine, so that was pretty fucking sweet. We had Jenna Ortega in this and Martin Henderson, which I love Martin Henderson. I think he's a great actor. So yeah, and Jenna Ortega. So yeah, I still hold this as a 7 out of 10. Glad I watched it. Definitely, you're a horror fan, go check this movie out. For sure. Fucking you know, Triple B's is out of the haunted basement right now. Give me a comment down there. Tell me what you think of this movie. Hit the sub button on the way out. Bust the likes. And guess what, you motherfuckers? Keep it hard.